Hello, fellow yappers. I'm Ruchi.
And I'm Shalini, and we're your hosts of Binge Yap Repeat.
We're two best friends who spend an embarrassing amount of time binge watching TV, and honestly, we just need to talk about it. If you're here, we're guessing you do too.
Fair warning, this is a spoiler-friendly zone. We will be discussing lots of spoilers. So, if you haven't watched the show yet, hit pause, go binge, and come back when you're ready to yap with us.
And now, it's yap time. Hello, everyone.
Hey, Yappers.
How's it going?
I'm good.
Great. I don't know if we have any oopsie doopsies or funsy onesies, do we?
I don't think so.
Oh, yeah. I guess in case you didn't get to the oopsie doopsie, you guys, Etoile is not renewed for another season. And my Google notifications, like, they keep sending me alerts. They're like, Etoile is canceled, by the way. And I'm like, I know. Stop sending me Google alerts about this.
Oh, I'm sad it's canceled. I would have liked
Yeah.
the second season.
Yeah. Oh, well. Today, we're
well.
going to talk about Dept Q, which I don't even know has a second season, but it sounds like they will, based on the way that it ended.
Yeah, they definitely set up for a second season at the end of season 1.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just quickly give an intro about Dept Q and then we can start discussing. Dept Q centers around Carl Mork, who is a former top-rated detective who is racked with guilt following an attack that left his partner paralyzed and another policeman dead. On his return to work, Carl is assigned to a cold case that will consume his life. Some other notable characters that we're going to talk about are Akram, who is a Syrian cop who comes to work for Mork as an assistant, Rose, another cop who has PTSD from her own accident, and Hardy, Carl's partner who was paralyzed from the accident at the very, very beginning of the episode. There's also Merritt Lingard, who is the subject of the cold case that they're working on, the lawyer who goes missing 4 years ago. And then I also wanted to mention the Dept Q Yes, so the first episode of Dept Q premiered on May 29th, 2025 on Netflix. It was created by Scott Frank and Jamini Lakhani, and based on the book series by Danish writer Jussi Adler-Olsen.
I didn't know it was based on a book series.
Yes, and also just quick fun fact, Jamini Lakhani actually worked on Black Mirror.
Oh, just comes full circle.
Yeah, I think she worked on, yes, she developed episodes such as San Junipero and USS Callister.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
Yeah. Dept Q is a series of 10 Danish Nordic noir crime novels by Jussi Adler-Olsen, which have been adapted into an ongoing series of highly successful Danish films and a Scottish television adaptation for Netflix.
Oh, okay. Yeah, when I clicked on the Danish film The Keeper of Lost Causes, which I think is the first one, it's the same story as the Dept Q season 1. It's Merritt Lingard who goes missing, and Mork ruffles feathers and is told to halt the investigation. Oh, but his assistant's name is Assad in this one.
Oh, not Akram, I wonder.
Nope. Oh, but there's still a pressure chamber.
Oh.
But this time, she's imprisoned by a vengeful chef named Lass.
Oh, okay, my. What is this, The Residence?
I am going to kill you!
Oh, man. Well, okay. What were your overall thoughts for this show?
I enjoyed it a lot. I love me a British procedural every now and then. And so I hadn't watched one in a while, actually, so I think I sometimes get burnt out by watching British procedurals. I'm like, oh, okay, it's just another case, another grisly detective with a broken personal life and too passionate about his job, etc. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought the way that they laid out the pilot with kind of the parallel storytelling between Carl and his life, and then Merritt and her life before she goes missing, and then revealing that hers was a flashback was so cool and got me so hooked on the show. The first episode before that reveal, I think it took me a little bit to get into it. I think I was just on my phone or something, so I kept being like, oh wait, I haven't been paying attention for the last 10 minutes, and now I have no idea what's happening. So I kept having to go back and rewind, and so I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna like this. But then the second that reveal happened in the pilot, I was like, okay, let's go. And then I was super hooked.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like, well, I think for me, I normally don't like this kind of show. So your mom was the one who told you about the show? Yeah, so when you told me that your mom really liked it and then you were like, oh, let's check it out. And I was like, I don't know. And then because I just read the plot summary and then I watched the first episode and I actually felt like I was hooked after the first minute of the first episode.
When Carl gets shot.
Yeah. And then it's like a flash forward. I was like, oh, okay, so this is what the episode is going to be about. And then like when they started talking about Merritt Lingard, and then it ended at the end of the episode 1 where it was like, oh, actually she is the person who goes missing and this is the cold case and this is how everything ties into each other. I'm like, oh shit. So it was like two oh snap moments in the same episode. So yeah, I think I also feel a little bit saturated. I'm a little bit over the trope of like rough around the edges British cop who doesn't give a fuck. Like he just wants to solve crimes, but he's so good at solving crimes that no one can say anything about his abrasive behavior, but he actually has a heart of gold within. I feel like so many tropes about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I once again was suckered in. I was like, it's different this time.
Do you think you just think you don't like grisly detective shows, but you actually just love them?
That's a good question. No, I think I am over it now because I think the first time around, like, I really loved Sherlock. But then for this one, I feel like his personality got a little abrasive. I felt like he was being really annoying sometimes. So even like the character himself, I didn't really like. I only really liked him when he started actually being a mentor figure for Rose and for Akram, basically. So, but until that point, I was actually very iffy on him as a character.
That's fair.
I watched for Akram.
Akram was MVP, dude. This case wouldn't have gotten anywhere without him. Well, seriously, he was the one that picked it, so it really wouldn't have gotten anywhere. But
exactly, the unsung hero Akram. They better fast track him to DCI.
Yeah.
Which I looked up stood for Detective Chief Inspector. There were a lot of acronyms.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I was like, what does that mean? What does that mean?
My parents watch a lot of British procedurals. I would say any that exist, my parents probably have seen. And so a lot of times they'll just quote things that they hear a lot on these shows, and one popular one is CCTV.
Did they say that in this show?
Oh, you bet.
Oh.
CCTV.
I did like all of the Scottish accents.
The Scottish accents were fun. I don't think I watch very many things set in Scotland, so it was fun to be in the world and hear the accents.
Yeah, it was also very interesting because Carl is not Scottish. He's like English or something. And then in the subtitles, it would be like Scottish accent, and then he was like kind of making fun of the Scottish accent. I'm like, thank God Netflix put these subtitles here because I don't know if I could have picked that out myself.
I did notice in one place when I guess it was part of the dream sequence. I actually want to ask you about this when he thinks he solved the shooting, like when he got shot and he goes to that mechanic shop or whatever, and then when he approaches that guy that's working on the car, he switches to a Scottish accent. I noticed that time, but I have no idea. Were there other times when he did that?
Yeah, several.
I did not notice.
Wait, did you not watch with subtitles?
I did.
Oh, yeah. So when I think when he goes to see William's caretaker for the first time, he adopts some Scottish accent in a mocking tone. I think the same for when he visits the police officer who's in charge of Moore. That guy, he also does like a fake Scottish accent. And then I think also with his therapist, he does like a mocking Scottish accent.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Didn't know.
But then they didn't actually talk about why he hates Scotland or like why he hates being there until like the second or third time that he meets with his therapist. And she's like, "Why are you even here if you hate Scotland so much?" And then he's like, "I'm forced to be here." Oh wow, that was terrible.
I'm forced to be here.
Yeah, something like that.
Why is he forced to be there again?
Because his ex-wife Victoria is a flight attendant who travels around the world, and then she has a son who is his stepson.
Jasper.
Jasper, yeah. So then he has to be like the model male figure for Jasper and not a brute Jasper.
Got it. Got it.
So that's where the heart of gold comes in. She's like, "Why don't you just leave?" And he's like, "I have to be there for Jasper." And then she's like, "Okay."
That therapist-patient relationship was very questionable.
Well, I mean, it was like teed up to be a romantic relationship.
Yeah. So did she get divorced during the time when they were doing the sessions? Because she definitely started with a wedding ring.
I think it was unclear when exactly. It sounded like she was having thoughts like at the wedding, based on the
that's right.
conversation that they had. So
Yeah, she had a panic attack.
even if she was wearing the wedding ring, it's unclear if she actually like was ever even married or
Okay,
yeah,
I
maybe
see.
they like got married for appearances and then immediately got divorced or something. Or they are separated now, who knows. Okay, there is like a couple bullet points that I wanted to talk about. One of them was related to the main plot line. It's just like a random question that I had.
Okay.
Okay, so I wrote down, huh? So
Good question.
thank you. Let me articulate. So who we thought was Sam Hague was not Sam Hague, and it was actually Lyle Jennings. So there are two people who went by Sam Hague. But then, why did Lyle say that he... Okay, the Sam Hague thing is not important, but why did Lyle say that he loved Merritt? So,
I think he was kind of obsessed with her.
Lyle?
Yeah. I think he was
Oh.
like truly obsessed with her and like jealous of his brother. And then he like relished the fact that she thought he was someone else so that he could have sex with her.
Oh, okay. I thought it may have been that Lyle just has multiple personality disorder or something, and that he thinks that Harry was in him. And then that's why when he was putting Merritt back, it was like Harry saying to Merritt that he loved her instead of Lyle.
Oh, I don't know. I think if there was some sort of like dissociative identity disorder thing, they would have been more explicit with it. But I didn't really get that. I thought he was just obviously extremely disturbed and abused as a child, and as a result, just like had weird associations with love and was like really obsessed with Merritt.
But
That
then
was my read.
Then in the tape, we saw Lyle Jennings as a young boy, and he's like, "Oh, that guy who like kicked me in the eye, that's Harry." And then the interviewer's like, "No, it's not. That was Sam Hague." And then he was like, "No, it's Harry." And then he was like, "But you said when Harry died, he did this. So you know that Harry died. But then before you met Sam Hague, you like didn't know that. You didn't accept that Harry had died because apparently Elsa?
Elsa?
Elsa.
Elsa. Anna and Elsa.
But Elsa put them in the hyperbaric chamber after Harry died, but before Lyle went to Godhaven. So, like,
Yeah, okay. I think this is how I read it, and I could be wrong. So, Yappers, if you disagree with this, definitely let us know. This was my take. that after Harry died, Lyle just hallucinated him, or, like, didn't... Because he obviously logically knew that Harry was dead, but then saw him everywhere, so he was like, oh, he's still with me. And I thought he just, like, hallucinated him, and then when he saw Sam, who kind of resembled Harry, he just projected Harry onto Sam, and then he was like, oh yeah, look, Harry's still here, and he couldn't put together the fact that because Harry died, that means he can't be here. I thought that was it.
But then why did Lyle kill Sam?
I don't know, because I don't know why he killed him, but I don't think he thought he was Harry at that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why he killed him. Maybe he just wanted his identity, but he had already fooled Merritt, right?
Yeah, exactly. He had already
Yeah.
assumed Sam's identity before.
Oh, was it because Sam was gonna write something about Godhaven and he didn't want him to write that? Remember when they meet at that like outdoor table at a food truck or something? And Sam's like, hey, by the way, I'm sorry for everything in the past, but I really want to write something about Godhaven. Is that cool? And then maybe Lyle didn't like that or something?
Maybe. I guess
Let's
like
see if
this
it's
is
Google
this
for
is
the
the
answer.
issue is that I feel like whenever they run into this thing about like, oh, but why did Lyle do this? Oh, it's like, oh, logically Lyle did this because X turns to Y turns to Z, and that's why Lyle did it. But then whenever they were like, oh, why would Lyle do this? And it's like, oh, because he just thought that like Harry was Sam or something like that. I was like, what? So it was weird. I think like that whole thing with him as a young boy, the video of him as a young boy was very strange. And then also beforehand, where Lyle is like putting Merritt back in the hyperbaric chamber after she escapes, that also was weird.
Yeah, I feel like he's a slave to his mom, you know? Okay, wait, actually, before we get to that, so I'm reading right now about why Lyle killed Sam, and on Reddit, on r/Netflix, this user Steerpike says that Lyle goes to kill the real Sam Hague at the cliff face to tie up any loose ends, since he's been impersonating him. So I guess that's why, but he'd been impersonating him for a while, so I don't know why that was the impetus. I guess after he kidnapped Merritt, then he wanted to tie up loose ends because someone would have come looking for Sam at that point, because it would have gotten out that she and Sam, quote unquote, were sleeping together.
I see. Okay.
Which kind of is what happened, and then they're
Yeah.
like, oh, Sam died.
Sorry.
Yeah, and then it
Sorry.
took them so much longer to figure out that Sam and Lyle had a connection.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. So I guess that makes more sense. Does that line up with the timeline? I also kind of like, I didn't really know what the timeline was, but it was the case that Merritt disappeared before Sam Hague died, right? Or was it the other way around? I guess it doesn't really matter.
This other Redditor, Ruby Phoenix, says, if I remember correctly, Sam died the day before Merritt was kidnapped, but wasn't found until later. Lyle just wanted to get close to Merritt, hence the sex. I think before that, he didn't have any interest in her romantically or sexually, but he did afterwards. He was extremely obsessed with her, and to an extent, with his own brother.
Okay. I guess I can buy that.
Okay. And then Ruby Phoenix also says, Lyle presumably calls Ailsa immediately after Merritt left the hotel room, telling her that she'd be on the ferry. Since the ferry goes to and from Moore, all she'd have to do is get on, ride the ferry to the mainland, meet up with Lyle, and go from there. Since she lived on Moore anyway, and Lyle could likely get her on for free and easily with his job. Oh, right.
Right.
He worked at the ferry.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Good. Okay. That makes sense then. Cool. And then I had another plot-related question, science-related question, I guess. Why was Akram cool to just go into the hyperbaric chamber and like be like, "Hey, Merritt, we're here. We're gonna get you out. No problemo." Then leaves the hyperbaric chamber, no problem. And then they have to get the portable hyperbaric chamber to transport her out. Is it because she was just under pressure for so long?
Yeah, so she needed decompression time because she was under such high pressure and then wanted to come back to normal atmospheric pressure. I think the big hyperbaric chamber had been depressurized when Akram went in. So I don't think he entered a high pressure chamber. I think the chamber was depressurized by then, but then they just quickly, remember they were like, oh, so we have a window in which to move her. So I think that was the window. It was like, okay, now the chamber is depressurized, but she needs to be put back in something high pressure before she dies. So that was the window that we saw, was him coming and telling her that she'll be okay, and then they put her in the mini chamber.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Because I thought when they had stopped the lever, I thought that was them stopping the increase in pressure, so they would just stop it at that pressure point and not actually depressurize it.
Oh,
So
I assume they did, because there were so many people in there, like, yeah, I think the door was just open, yeah.
So then the series ends, and Merritt Lingard is found. Still hasn't thanked Carl Mork in person, but that's okay. He's too gruff, it's fine. He doesn't need
the thank you.
He's too gruff. But then we still didn't get an answer to the shooting.
I was gonna ask you that. Okay, because I was thinking to myself, before we find out that thing was a dream, I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe he solved his own shooting. That's great. And then he wakes up and I'm like, so do those people not exist? Like, what?
Yeah.
Was that just a figment of his subconscious imagination?
I guess so. An excuse to see the hot therapist again.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I had a dream!
The first dream in 20 years!
Finally!
Yeah, and then the series ends and he's like, well, what's the next cold case? I'm like, yours, my guy! Solve your case!
But he's not allowed to, right?
Yeah, that was the other frustrating thing. Like, what the heck are these two other nincompoops doing?
Oh my god, frickin' frack. They don't know what they're doing.
Frickin' frack every single time. I have to assume that these are like days in between. He just pops by their workstation, takes one look at the whiteboard, and is like, this guy went to McDonald's. There's obviously two suspects. Have you even thought about that possibility? And they're like, oh. Come on, dudes.
Like, why are these guys so incompetent?
Yeah, like, what have they even been researching? It's been days, and he literally just picks back up where he left off and is like, yeah, go check the McDonald's CCTV. Yeah, he was like, go check the McDonald's CCTV, and then they did, and then they found a suspect in black, and then they're like, okay, I guess we'll just wait here until he comes by our desks again and tells us what to do.
Now what?
SpongeBob meme. But yeah, I was like, dang.
Yeah.
What are they even doing?
I know that their boss, who was the guy that kind of looked brown but had white hair.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a name, but he and Moira had a final conversation, but I kind of forget what it was about. Was it not about the case, or?
I think it was basically what we just talked about, where he was like, or she was like, do I need to take you off the case? And he's like, I like, no. And then she was like, do I need to put Carl Mork on the case? And then he was like, you can't do that because he can't investigate his own case. Oh yeah, this is the order. She was like, do I need to put Carl Mork on you? And then he was like, he can't do that. He can't investigate his own case. And then she was like, okay, well then, do I need to take you off? And then he was like, no. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, still didn't get an answer. So I feel like there has to be a season 2, right?
Yeah, there's gotta be. Maybe that'll be like the overarching plot, kind of like it was this season, but just still haven't found that murderer.
Yeah. But then I guess there is so much source material that they could definitely make this a long-running series, but
yeah.
I really hate it when TV shows kind of like draw it out like this. Like, at some point, his shooting has to be solved, and it looks like he can do it in, like, 2 episodes, to be honest.
So just let him cook!
Yeah, let him cook! Maybe the next season will be all about his particular shooting, and it won't be about a cold case that he's solving on the side.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hopefully. Well, yeah. I don't know. I think the cold cases seem a little more interesting, though.
That's what I feel too.
Hopefully that thing never gets solved.
Oh God. Let him work for half an hour. Just 30 minutes.
That's all we ask. Just 30 minutes of a 9-hour-long season.
And he'll do it. He'll solve it.
Yeah.
It'll be great. And now that Hardy's back on the case, easy.
Oh, do you think, remember when Hardy comes back to the police station and he's like, oh, you have a case for me and Carl? And she's like, no, just you. Do you think that's the shooting? Oh, no, but he was also a victim. So he can't investigate that case either.
We thought we were cooking.
Let me cook. No, I can't.
Yeah, what case would that be if it's just him?
I don't know. I don't know why they made that a big deal, too. She's like, no, just you. And he's like,
Stop me. Stop.
Yeah, I was like, what's the significance of this?
Yeah, okay, I didn't remember that. So what, we got like 3 cases in season 2 then?
Yeah, presumably whichever one Carl is solving.
Yeah.
Their own shooting.
Cold case Carl.
And
yeah.
Yeah. And then third is whatever case that Hardy's put on.
Yeah, 3.
Interesting. Oh, so did you recognize the actress that played Moira?
Moaning Myrtle?
Oh no, that's who played Claire Walsh, I think.
Oh,
That
yes.
was Moaning Myrtle. First of all, fuck J.K. Rowling.
First of
But
all,
yes.
JKR.
But yes, that was Moaning Myrtle. But the one who plays the boss at the police station, the lady.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Okay, she played Lysa Arryn in Game of Thrones, the Lady of the Vale.
Whoa.
Yeah. I was like, for some reason, I hate this woman. Why do I hate her? And then I looked up who she was, and I was like, it's Lysa Arryn!
Yes, you're right. When I first saw her, I also did not like her at all. She's the one, she was like nursing the 10-year-old, right?
Yes, and then I had something to say about that as well. After I remembered that she was Lysa Arryn, I was like, Merritt Lingard looks exactly like Robin Arryn. They just happen to look exactly the same. Don't they?
I think it's that, like, no eyebrow, washed out, sharp feature look. You know what I mean?
This dude. look at that guy and tell me that's not Merritt Lingard.
No. Oh my god.
That's Merritt!
That's not Merritt.
You don't think so?
Okay, look up Merritt Lingard. Look at her face again and tell me that's Merritt Lingard.
Oh, come on, they have the same face.
It's similar.
Merritt looked like Robin Arryn is in my notes. But yeah, I forgot to say, the Moaning Myrtle actress is Shirley Henderson, and I think I've seen her in a few things, actually.
Oh, she was in Bridget Jones's Diary?
Oh yeah, she is!
She was also in The Trouble with Jessica. And Train Spotting. Oh, and in Star Wars? She was Babu Frick in Star Wars.
Okay, going back to the shooting of Carl and Hardy, I can't believe neither of them died.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy. I think if it sounds like it was a setup, right? From P.C. Anderson was kind of in on it.
Was that the other guy that got shot?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is
Then
also
was he shot accidentally?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, did he just not know? Because
No.
confusing why P.C. Anderson would be like the one setting them up, but then is the only one that gets killed. But also, they weren't even supposed to be there. They were just nearby.
Right, yeah. I thought maybe someone was trying to kill P.C. Anderson. Like, that was the setup, and they knew that he would be there. and they'd been watching the house or something. I don't know.
But then they also said that PC Anderson was like touching everything and making super rookie mistakes, even though he was top of his class in the police academy.
Oh, what is going on? I don't know.
Yeah.
A mystery. A mystery.
We need season 2 to unravel the mystery.
Carol.
My Scottish accent needs work. Carol. Okay, the other thing that I didn't really get at first is the hat getting blown off the boat. So I think this was at the end of episode 1 where Merritt and William are on the boat, and then Merritt just like throws her phone into the ocean, and then her brother William is like, me too, and then like takes his hat off and like throws it into the ocean. And based on that angle, from what we saw, it definitely looks like the hat goes into the ocean. But when Carl, when Carl and Akram do the same thing when they're on the boat, Akram's hat flies down to the car park. So it's like, oh, the hat must have flown down to the car park. But the angle that we saw the hat fly down to the car park in Akram and Carl's scene is like very obviously that it flew somewhere onto the boat. But when we saw Merritt and William's scene, it's like it flew away. So I was confused by that.
I think when they showed the Merritt and William scene, they strategically didn't show where the hat goes past like that frame, you know? But then when they showed it for Carol and and Akram, they had it way more zoomed out, so you could see way more.
Yeah.
I think that was the difference. So I think we are supposed to believe that that when William threw his hat, Merritt realized that it landed in the car park and went down.
Yeah.
I think that's what we were supposed to get from it.
Yes, because later on there's a scene of Merritt like picking up the hat from the car park, and that's where she gets nabbed.
Yes.
So I understand that, but I was just really confused by the initial scene, because it's not even like the actors went like, oh, and like looked behind them. They just were, like,
I think that was misleading.
Out. Yeah, they just like were looking out. They're like, well, it's gone to the ether.
Well,
Definitely not in any car park where it's easily accessible.
There she goes.
Yeah, I was like...
Yeah, that was definitely misleading.
Yeah, so I was, super confused by that. Because I put... My notes were like, wait, why are they looking like... Why was there such, like, big significance around the hat being blown off and it going into the car park when it obviously didn't go into the car park? And then I have a third bullet that's like, oh, she did receive that hat in the car park in all caps. Yeah. Anyway, okay, cool. Figured that out.
Okay.
Can we talk about roommate Martin? Little baby girl. Baby girl Martin.
Oh, baby girl.
I loved him. He was so great. He was like his low-key therapist.
I was at first confused about who he was. I think probably because in the first episode I wasn't paying very close attention. So I was like, oh, is this his ex-wife's new boyfriend? Like, I don't know why I thought that he was because he kind of was playing a fatherly role to Jasper. So I was like, oh, is this the ex's new guy? But then I was like, oh no, this is Carl's home. Carol's home.
Carol.
I was like, oh, I guess they're just roomies.
Yeah.
So
I didn't.
cute.
Yeah, I didn't get anything other than they're just roomies. They're just flatmates. Yeah. But I loved how Martin and Jasper were doing Tai Chi together. That was really sweet.
That was so sweet. I loved it. And of course, Carl's just
Cattle.
like little cattle. Does not believe in any of this shit.
Yeah. Have you ever done Tai Chi before?
No, have you?
No. I was wondering if that was actually how Tai Chi was. Kind of
I
looks
feel like
it.
that it wasn't what it looks like when I see old people doing it in the park.
Yeah.
But maybe those are real moves. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. They're probably not called whatever he was calling them.
Yeah. He was like, girl on the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, what is that?
Huh?
Yeah. Oh, okay. I also wrote, I get so anxious when I see two people who we know are being surveilled are in front of a giant floor to ceiling window. So this was
When did that happen?
When Merritt and Sam Haig, who we now know as Lyle Jennings, I think they meet for the first time in the the hotel room, and they're just in front of giant floor to ceiling windows, and you could see the lights outside and the rain pitter pattering, and I was like, aren't they like supposed to be being tailed right now and surveilled? And that's why Lyle Jennings slash Sam Haig told her in the park to find a better place next time.
Yeah, and here they are outside right next to a giant window where anyone could see them.
Which
Yeah.
also didn't make sense because she often visited that hotel too, we found out.
Wait, why did she visit the hotel?
So she visited the hotel when she had her rendezvous with Liam.
Oh, right. I forgot that was the same hotel. Slash, I
Yeah.
forgot about the Liam thing. Yeah.
Yeah, because then
Yeah.
Sam Haig slash Lyle Jennings was like, oh, do you come to this place often? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, what? Wasn't that the whole point? There was that whole scene in the park where he was like trying to do this front of like, oh, pretend you're mad at me because I threw this litter away. And then she's like, that won't be too hard. And then he's like, find a better place next time because you visit this place too often. And then she was like, not gonna reply. And then she's in the same.
She's like, yeah, actually, everyone here knows me, so.
Hey, why don't you just like come to my house next time? And then he's like, yeah, that sounds great.
So silly. I don't know.
So weird. So I mean, maybe she went to that place because she was always there under a pseudonym at that place. She was always under
So she like
a
already
brand.
had a setup to be a secret person.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe that's why she had that setup going and that's why they went there, but she still stood in front of floor to ceiling windows. So even if she was under a different name, if they were being tailed, they absolutely could have just taken a pot shot through the window.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Come on.
Anthony, come on. Oh, I had a question about the dark cloud theory, but
Oh, yeah.
did you pick up on that? I found an answer afterwards.
Okay. I'm forgetting exactly when that theory came up and who was
So-
talking about it.
I think it came up in episode 2 or 3. So Carol was talking
Carol.
to was talking to the police officer on Moore, and he said something about, oh, the dark cloud theory. And then the police officer guy was like, yeah. And I was like, huh? What is that? And so I looked it up, and apparently the dark cloud theory is just the theory about how Merritt's mom dies. Because it's still a little bit unclear how it actually happens. So the account the account that we get is that she goes off-road in Glasgow and then dies in an accident because there was a dark cloud.
Oh my god, my interpretation was so different. I'm so glad you looked that up because how I interpreted it was that the Moore police officer just had this theory that some families just have dark clouds over them, and so bad things just happen to them and not to other people. And so he was like, yeah, of course Merritt would have been the one to go missing because her family was under a dark cloud. And that's also why her brother's head got bashed in. Like, the family is under a dark cloud. I thought that's what he was saying.
Wait, maybe that is it. Okay, let me read you word for word what it says. The
Okay.
account that we get is that she went off-road in Glasgow and died in an accident due to what the officer mentions as a dark cloud.
Oh.
So maybe it
Due
still
to a
could
dark
be your
cloud.
theory.
Okay. Yeah, maybe
Okay,
that is
maybe-
that.
Okay, no, I like your theory a lot more because
Okay.
that's how I initially interpreted it too, but then I was confused as if he was referring to the family as a dark cloud. I think, to be honest, I was not paying super close attention during this moment, so maybe I also thought it was like Carl being the reason why Carl is pessimistic or something is because he has a dark cloud theory or something like that. That's kind of how I thought of it. But I like your theory. I understand.
Okay.
I think your theory makes a lot more sense.
Okay. It's canon. Heard it here first, folks.
Everyone else was like, it's so fucking obvious what their theory was.
This whole episode, whenever someone listens to it, they're gonna be like, all of these questions are so obvious. This discussion is pointless.
Yeah, they'll be like, why am I even listening to this podcast? Because everything in the show made perfect sense.
I didn't even have any questions, and I'm not learning any new information. You know what? We're not experts, you know? We're just two best friends who watch an embarrassing amount of television.
We just want to talk about it. The last thing that I did not understand was when it first happened. So I think there's a scene where Merritt is masturbating or something, and then Lyle is looking in, and he's like, "Ooh, this Russell is my Jimmy's," and then he gives her a can of soda or something, and then when she opens the airlock, the can explodes. And so I was like, okay, I guess that's just due to high pressure or something. Like, that's why it just explodes. But I was like, why would they give her a can if they knew that was gonna... I was confused by that. Like, obviously that would happen to a carbonated beverage.
Yeah, like, if it was so obvious that was gonna happen, why did they do it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
And she's been in there for 4 years, so it's not... And Lyle has been in it since childhood, so...
Right. Bro's an expert in that chamber.
Yeah. So,
I
like, why would
don't
they do that?
know. That's a good question. My read was that it was to show the viewer how high pressure that chamber was.
Oh, okay.
Like, that's the only reason. So I don't know if it was lazy writing. We probably misinterpreted it, so I shouldn't insult the writers. So I don't know, but maybe it was lazy writing.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Maybe.
I don't know.
I guess, is there any other thing? Because I was thinking it was like Lyle was trying to reward her for, like, you know, masturbating or whatever.
Yeah, that might be true. He was like, yes, let me incentivize this behavior so I can continue to watch her.
Yeah, but then it just, like, didn't work because...
Yeah. Because it was so high pressure, which should have been obvious. Oh, or maybe that was the first time... Because I think that was the first time when the chamber started making weird noises, right? So maybe that's when the chamber started failing. Or the can caused the chamber to start failing or something.
Oh, okay. Okay,
You just didn't expect it to?
Okay, also question on the chamber failing. So what I read that as was the overall thing was failing, and there was a lot of, like, high pressure, whatever, and then she just basically took the pliers and just, like, broke the pipes so that her chamber would become depressurized. But then as she crawled out of the chamber, it looked like she was even under so much pressure. But then if she could do that, I'm confused about science.
Okay, I think what happened was she depressurized the chamber, she opened the portal, went out, but as she was leaving, the, like, decompression sickness was hitting her, and that's why, like, her eyes started going red. Her blood vessels were basically exploding, I think. And so she was like, no, and then they just put her back in and then fixed it.
Oh, okay, so that's kind of like the window that we were discussing earlier.
Yes.
So that's why she couldn't just, like, leave.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. I thought that it was like the entire room was under, like, an immense amount of pressure, and, like, that's what she broke. So, like, that's why that airlock thing, like, slammed into Elsa, and then she was, like, knocked out.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it was just the tube thing that was under high pressure, and then Elsa was in normal.
Elsa and Carol.
Carol.
Okay, all right. So that makes sense, and that's why that she had to be in the portable hyperbaric chamber in the tube when she
Yes.
left. Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Great. Science. Unlike
Science.
North of North, where you had flooding in the second story room and nowhere else.
Oh, wait, there was something I wanted to look up regarding science. Okay. Hyperoxia. Okay. This is something I had a question about that.
God, don't ask me science
No, no, no. Okay, so, in the recording that they play, they're like, when the pressure becomes high enough, you may experience hyperoxia, where too much carbon dioxide enters your lungs or something. I just looked up hyperoxia, so I know hypoxia is when you don't get enough oxygen, and so I assumed hyperoxia is when you have too much oxygen. But then they said that it was carbon dioxide, but then I just looked it up, and it says hyperoxia is oxygen poisoning, a condition where tissues and organs are exposed to high levels of oxygen exceeding normal atmospheric levels. So why did they say carbon dioxide?
Oh, in the recording they said carbon dioxide?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember the recording saying that, but I do remember Hardy looking up the hyperbaric chamber and the
Yeah.
oxygen stuff, and he was like, once it gets to 9 atmospheres, then that's when oxygen becomes toxic.
Yes. Okay, I remember that too. So I don't know why the recording said carbon dioxide. Yeah, okay. Well, I think they got it wrong, because I remember hearing it twice that they say too much carbon dioxide in the lungs, but that's hypoxia, not hyperoxia.
I see. Okay. Got it. Good to know.
Okay. Good to know.
If I'm ever stuck in a hyperbaric chamber, it doesn't matter if it's hyper or hypo. I'll die either way.
Equally fucked.
But I'll know exactly how I die.
Oh, when did you suspect, I guess, did you have any theories about who the kidnappers were? And if so, at what point did you realize things?
I felt like it was going to be an inside job. I felt like Stephen Burns definitely was up to something the whole time. But I didn't understand the Harry Jennings, Lyle Jennings, all of that stuff until a little bit later. But when did you realize?
I wish I realized it sooner, but, so, in the first flashback, I don't know if it was the first flashback, but when you see Merritt, like teenage Merritt and teenage Harry, smoking in the living room, and then Lyle comes in and he's like, "It smells like sex." And then he gave Merritt a weird look, and I was like, what? That was weird. Like, why did they show him looking at her like that? But then I didn't think too much about it. But then when he goes in and when modern day Lyle goes into the chamber and like cries over Merritt and is like, "I'm in love with you" or something, I was like, "Oh, it's Lyle. It's Lyle and his mom!" Because I also remembered them saying something weird about the mom, like the mom being a little deranged or something. And then I was like, "Oh, this fits the bill! This fits the bill!"
Oh, dang. Wow. Okay. Very perceptive. So I thought it was an elderly woman because they kind of showed her a little bit. And then I just assumed that it would be an elderly man. So I thought that elderly man was Graham Finch.
Oh.
So I thought it was Stephen Burns, Graham Finch, and I didn't really know who the woman was until very late when they started exploring the Jennings storyline. And then I was like, oh, it's Lyle and his mom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But wow, very good.
Thank you. I also have two racist moments. Well, I guess one is not, but not. I shouldn't call it racist moment. But I had two moments. Okay, well, I'll just tell you how this happened.
Well, you already had one with Robin and Merritt.
They have the same face, and I will die on that hill. Okay, so we kind of saw what Mother Kidnapper looked like, right? Like we saw that she had a short, grayish, whitish bob. She was obviously an old lady. Then I think in the next episode, they finally show Dr. Sonnenberg, and she's also an old lady with a whitish, grayish bob, and I was like, is that the kidnapper?
Shalini.
Turns out that wasn't the case. Then we obviously know what fake Sam Hague looks like, the one that was sleeping with, well, basically Lyle Jennings. We already know what he looked like. Then they show the flashback, and I was like, Lyle Jennings kind of looks like Sam Hague. And then I was like, I'm probably being racist again, and then completely forgot about it, but it was the same person.
Yeah, actually, when they showed Sam and Lyle at the table, I was like, I need to lock in right now so I know. It was true.
Literally all look same.
Well, that was the whole plot line because, oh wait, no, it wasn't. I was just about to say the police probably thought that too, but no, they never knew.
They saw a picture of the real Sam Hague, but it was like this. Couldn't really, his face was kind of obscured. Yeah.
So the audience was meant to think that the person rock climbing was Sam Hague. So they were meant to look very similar.
The person rock climbing was Sam Hague.
Or sorry, like the person rock climbing was Sam Hague, but we as the audience had known Sam Hague, Lyle Jennings Sam Hague, before we knew actual Sam Hague. So when we saw the picture, we were just like, oh yeah, like guy with the scruffy beard. I guess that's him. Totally. Yeah.
And they intentionally like didn't really show what this picture looked like very closely. You know, he just kind of picks it up and brings it across and then just gives it to Carl. Cattle. Or to Akram. I don't remember actually, but
someone, yeah.
Yeah, so I think we're not supposed to be allowed to zoom in and examine what that looks like.
But I bet some people did. And if you did, you probably figured it out way before we did. Good job.
But yeah, I wonder if casting a young Lyle that looked like future Lyle, like almost exactly the same, because I really thought they looked so similar. But then I was like, nah, I'm just being racist.
Well, okay, I also think that there's another actor who is in American Horror Story, I think, who also, I think, played a Lyle, who also had blonde curly locks. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Are you talking about Tate?
Tate, yes.
Oh, that guy. No, he's different.
Is he? Well, I feel like that
You're talking about Evan Peters?
Yeah, but I feel like that guy, the young boy who played young Lyle Jennings, could have also played a young Evan Peters / Tate Langdon.
I thought he looked kind of similar. Now we're just being racist. I thought he kind of looked like the guy who plays the older brother in not Bridge to Terabithia. The older brother in Chronicles of Narnia. / also plays Sam in Love Actually.
Yeah, I see that.
That kid.
Love Simon?
Probably not a kid anymore. No, not Love Simon.
Lovey Simone?
Lovey Simone? Thomas Brody Sangster.
Yes. I know who you're talking about. It's just this small face, blonde locks, curly blonde locks, that style.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
British.
Yeah. Scottish.
Scottish cattle.
Oh, man.
There was one funny line that I wrote down when Jasper and Carol are talking, and Jasper's like, Mom fucked us both. And then Carl's like, maybe there's another way you could put that.
Yeah, I laughed at that too. He's like, try again. I think as abrasive as Carl was, he did have some good one-liners.
Yeah, he did. Honestly, Carol can get it.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. Came around him in the end. Um, okay, I did not have any other things to talk about.
Me neither.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Rating time?
Rating time. I guess I'll go first. Okay. I think I would give this probably an 8 out of 10. Yeah. I was really hooked after the reveal at the end of episode 1. I thought it was really well done. I have watched a lot of British procedurals in my time, and so I'm always skeptical about how much I'm going to enjoy the big reveal, and I was really impressed the whole season. So, yeah, definitely 8 out of 10. Really enjoyable.
I feel like I'm always like a half point lower than you because I was also thinking about what I would rate this. Honestly, I mean, I did like this more than I liked other British procedurals, and I definitely liked it more than I thought I would. But am I gonna watch season 2 in order to find out the answer to the shooting in like 2 years whenever it comes out? I don't know. Kind of depends on what else is out there. So I think I might give this a 7.
Okay. Great.
Cool. Binge progressi.
Binge in progress.
I started watching Straw, the movie with Taraji P. Henson.
Oh, how is it?
It's very intense. Do you know the premise of the movie?
I kind of remember that it's a struggling single mother, but I don't know anything else about it.
Yeah, it's basically a struggling single mother who's having the worst day of her life. So I think it's Straw because it's kind of like a series of events that happens, and it's kind of like the straw that breaks the camel's back. So I think that's why it's called Straw. But yes, it's very intense. I haven't finished it yet. I'm only about halfway through. But yeah, it's keeping me in, but
Okay.
very heart-wrenching.
Nice.
Yeah. How about you?
I am watching Survivor again. I'm about to become the biggest Survivor fan, I'm pretty sure, because I've just mostly been watching over my sister's shoulder, as I've mentioned on this podcast, but now we're actually watching a whole season. So we're watching Survivor 20, which was Heroes versus Villains, and we just finished the first episode.
Ooh, who won? Heroes or Villains?
Heroes won the first challenge, but then I think they lost the second challenge, and so, yeah, they lost the second challenge. Oh, actually, we haven't finished episode 1. We're at Tribal Council for episode 1, and someone from the Heroes tribe is about to get voted off.
Oh, okay. Wait, how
Yeah.
do they determine villains? Aren't these
So-
like normal people?
They're normal people. They're all from past Survivor seasons, and it's, I think, beloved people and hated people.
Got
But
it.
unclear whether it's beloved by other survivors or beloved by fans.
I
Beloved /
see.
hated by fans. Yeah.
Yes, because villains normally are also both.
Yeah. So I was like, should I expect to hate villains, or maybe not? Maybe only the other survivors hated these people, but the viewers liked them, so I don't know.
Maybe it's just like villains of their season.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Like how
Like-
Corinne is like, she was definitely a villain of her season, but she was also
But people loved her.
by fans.
Yeah, so maybe it is just like the other Survivor contestants thought these people were villains.
Yeah. Ooh, interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Great.
I'm prepping for Survivor 50.
When does that come out?
I think not for a while. I think they just started filming, so maybe 4 or 5 months? I don't know. 6 months? It's weekly episodes, and there's a bunch, and the last season just ended.
I feel like they really crank them out.
Yeah, there are 2 seasons a year, but they just released 48.
Okay,
And
so
then
probably
this-
like another
and so
6
then-
months.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. Maybe 3 or
Okay.
4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That'll end. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Is that it?
Is that it? Cattle.
Great. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Thanks for yapping with us. If you loved this episode, have some hot takes we missed, or if you've got a show you're dying for us to binge next, follow us on socials. We're at Binge Yap Repeat.
Until next time, happy binging!